Hello guys, I want to share with you my tests on maximizing rarity on Archmage Spark, while keeping the ability to farm challenging endpoint maps with Delirium. I also tested different ways of buffing maps and came to one that was probably the best option, but more on that later. Initially I wanted to try this after I saw a video of a guy killing an Arbiter using a custom shock lightning conduit setup in a few seconds, and thought that by slightly changing my build I could add a huge amount of rarity to it. Before I show all the build changes that I've done, I'd like to mention that playing in a full rarity setup is not nearly as comfortable as in a regular setup with 300 rarity. You have to sacrifice your survivability, but you will not lose anything in damage. However, you will have to play more carefully, as you can easily die from random on-death effect like cold explosions on the ground. Let's review my build changes. To be able to get 500 rarity, I had to switch to a mana-only version. This means that I no longer have any energy shield and I'm able to remove all the ES passives from the tree. Because of this, I no longer need an Everlasting Gaze amulet. So I switched to a rare amulet with the mana and rarity, but the most important and required stat here is spirit. You need to have at least 60 spirit on it, otherwise the build will not work. We need the spirit to be able to use Archmage as well as custom shock with Lightning Conduit. Next I switched my body armor to Warrior Invictus with rarity and max mana. It gives me 25% of maximum mana and 100 rarity. I would only recommend switching to it if you're able to buy a version with 5 sockets, otherwise you will lose a lot of your mana by switching it and I'd say it's not worth it. I also changed the Dream Fragment for a rare ring with mana, rarity and resistances because it gives me another 80% of rarity. However, I'm still thinking about returning to Dream Fragment because being frozen and chilled on maps is pretty annoying and you can't really do anything about it. Also in a setup with max rarity, the unique flask from Simulacrum becomes required. All of your mana sustain comes from your flask and without it you will not be able to sustain your mana on bosses. Besides that, I had to change my jewels. I'm still running Adorn, and I would say that without it, the build overall will feel much weaker. So I had to buy a few jewels with Shock Magnitude for my Lightning Conduit. I have only 2 of them since I don't have any troubles with damage. However, you can take more of them if you feel lack of it. I also dropped all my jewels with Energy Shield and changed them to ones with movement speed and some damage modes. Now about the changes in gems. I had to remove Considered Casting and Controlled Destruction from Spark, and place Lightning Exposure and Overcharge instead. I did it to maximize the damage from Lightning Conduit, but I still have a lot of damage from Spark, it will be enough to kill any rares on the map. Custom Shock is linked with Lightning Conduit, Elemental Focus, Control Destruction, Impetus, and Considered Casting. And speaking about gameplay, you're applying shock with your spark, and if something stays alive, it's hit by Lightning Conduit, which means they're dead. Even bosses die after one cast of it, since it hits for over 10 million. Overall, I would say that this setup is probably the best choice if you're chasing rarity. However, I would probably get back to Dream Fragment and run with 450 rarity on my character. Right now rarity is absolutely broken, especially if you combine it with proper maps. Let's move to map strategy. Right now I'm trying to get as much quant on my maps as possible. I'd say that no other mods gives you even close to as much loot as quantity does. To do that, you have to set up your atlas. You need to find the region where a few towers are close to each other, so the effect of the tablets will stack. Also I need to mention that mods from tablets affect all maps in the towers range. Right now, I'm using only tablets with at least 19 quant on them, and I don't really care about the second modifier. Usually, I'm using 2 tablets with breach to get a breach on every single map, and then one with eradication. Don't underestimate this mod, the area level right now is essential, and you can only drop rares with highest tiers of mods on area level 81 or more. A few words about map rolling. Right now I'm capable of completing any maps, so I'm looking for maps with rarity, quantity, and number of rare monsters modifier. Then I'm filling into 6 modifier using Exiles, applying the Paranoid Delirium Orb to get even more rares on map, and at the end corrupting them. Those maps are really difficult but rewarding at the same time. However, I'm currently able to clear them with this 500 rarity setup, and my level of gear is not even needed. If you're incapable of doing those maps, I would probably drop volleying them first. Also, you can use a prefix omen method to get easier maps. I talked about it in my previous videos. Then maybe try to swap to some other delirium orbs, but tablets with quantity are mandatory, and they do not make your maps any harder by themselves. So I'm currently only farming breaches since they are by far the best mechanic for farming with a high amount of rarity. My current atlas tree looks like this. Since maps are really difficult, I'm taking the slower breach passive. This is essential to not die. Also, this helps a lot on maps with bad layouts, so you're able to kill all the rares. I'm maximizing tablet's effect as well as the effect of map modifiers. Actually, I didn't count the exact amount of profit, but it's something in range between of 2 to 6 divines per map on average. And that's it. If you have any questions left, you can ask them in the comments below or come to my stream and ask them there. Currently, I'm streaming only on my YouTube channel. Also, if you want to download my loot filter, I dropped it on my Discord channel. The link will be in the description. Good luck!